Well, that was a lot of blood.
So very close to being real. I loved you, I still do. Everything I did was something for you.
Evil Dead Burn. One of the really interesting things coming out of that 80s horror scene into the 90s, into the 2000s, is just how persistent Evil Dead has been. I mean, you have everything from video games, TV shows, and now they're getting into this every couple of years, every year they're giving it to a new director, a new creative vision, and they're just letting them kind of play in the Evil Dead universe, not necessarily tying things together, although there are some interesting post-credit scenes in this film, FYI. Scenes plural too. Like, what is this, a Marvel movie? I get a mid-credits and a post-credit scenes. Don't tell me that they're trying to build an Evil Dead. So this time around, directed by Sebastian, I believe, Vanasek. Not a lot of credits, kind of a small film director, given the Evil Dead sandbox to have some fun in. And what he chooses to do is kind of interesting. Your plot. There's not a lot of plot. Friend group, guy dies, family mourning, Evil Dead attacks a house. Violence! There's something about how this film is directed that I did not enjoy. It's almost like the idea was to kind of mimic the 16mm era, how the lighting is, the graininess of the film. Maybe there'll be some differences when it's out on a disc, I'm not sure. But just how it presented in theater. It's not to say there aren't some really cool shots. There are. There's one in particular, the mirror, that people I was watching with on both sides of me were like, that was cool. I also want to apologize to anybody that seated around our friend group in that theater, because the horror trash talk and stupid comments during this film, hi. Surprised we didn't get nibs thrown at us. Did I get any of them to do the 1-minute review or one-line review I usually enjoy doing on these? No. You know why? They serve beer in theaters now. This film, the best way I can describe it is Terrifier-esque, where they kind of push the idea of character development and story to one side. And before anybody tells me, there's a whole lore and mythology to Terrifier. No, there's not. You tell me what's happening. There's a magic sword. There's demons. Angel, kind of. Some sort of demonic like, there's no clear path. And when they end this movie, whatever ending they come up with for Terrifier is going to be just them jumbling things together. I mean, why do you think it's taken them so long to actually pull this off? I digress. There's obviously a lot of folks that enjoy the Terrifier films, and they are gore porn. They are literally non-stop blood, violence, practical effects that either enthralls you, disgusts you, aim to get some sort of reaction. That's this movie. They're betting on the fact that you walked into that movie, sat in that seat for gore. Don't get me wrong, I did a little bit. Within about 5-10 minutes, this movie just comes out of the gate firing too. I'm talking bodies are hitting the floor, or water in this case, right out of the gate. But within a very short period of time, I realized that this film, I don't know how cheap it was, but it looks cheap. There's all these like television style close-ups where characters are like talking to the camera like this close, having conversations where it's cutting between faces where like the camera is right here, as opposed to a normal film where a camera might sit back a bit, take in the backdrop while the characters have a conversation, move to someone talking, slide, like, it's just very much like the camera's right in their face. And I think that was intentional, probably trying to give off this grindhouse, cheaper feel to the film after a much more polished prior entry in Evil Dead Rise. And I really liked Evil Dead Rise. That was a film that I finished and I was like, that was a really cool new school horror film that still kind of paid homage and respect to Evil Dead. And this film does, don't get me wrong. But it's just an interesting choice, considering that one of the endearing factors of Evil Dead, surprisingly, is the characters. People enjoy the people in those original films. Yeah, there's Bruce Campbell, but there's tons of fun characters around them. Evil Dead Rise had some really good character development where you understood your heroine and you understand where she is at the end of the film. Pulls you through all that horror. Without that, if you just have morally bankrupt, underbaked characters that are getting slaughtered left, right, and center, yeah, If you're there for gore, this film will deliver. People, before this movie came out, were like, it's mean, it's ruthless, it's vicious, it's brutal. All that's true. But does any of that on its own make it a good film? There were so many shots where I'm like, why is the camera so close? I get you want to see this practical, but there's no reason why someone's face needs to be like this during any sort of scene ever. Are you comfortable right now? Are you? During this review, if I just started shooting blood everywhere, if I had blood packs and I was just like, ah, and there's just blood hitting the camera, does that make this a good horror movie review? Nah. Just means there's a lot of blood. To recap, didn't hate this film. I'm going to say on a film scale, for me, 5. I'm going to say like 6 horror movie scale. 6. I might even trip toward 5, but I'm going to say 6. There's going to be people that feel totally different. They're going to be like, no, this is exactly what I wanted from an Evil Dead film. I just want gore. I just want pure horror. They're not even against some that there animal violence in this film. They're just throwing everything at you. When I finished this film, I walked out of the theater and I saw it with, I think, 6 people. We were pretty split, almost down the middle. And I think that's going to be how the audience is. A couple of people loved it. A couple of people didn't. And a couple of people were meh. I was one of the meh. I enjoyed the experience of watching it with my friends. Like the trash talk, the jokes during the film were just, I mean, that was the best part. But the movie itself, there's some weird stuff going on here. Also, at the end of this film, a like stand-in from Will Smith's I Am Legend just drops into the final showdown. Somebody else referenced how it looked like a character from Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. However you want to do it. After all that practical, what is this CGI monstrosity during the end of this film? So many questions. I hope that they keep making these because they are fun. I love going to an Evil Dead film and being like, what am I in for? What is this director bringing to the table? And it's been really fun. I enjoyed the 2013 remake, despite the fact that I will stand behind that Bruce Campbell should have been the ranger at the end of that film driving up and just been like, hey, I drive by every once in a while to make sure everything's okay. And then she gets in the car and that would have been like the perfect way to tie them together. And I really enjoyed Evil Dead Rise. So I didn't enjoy this film. That's fine. I think it's still going to make its money back. It was made for cheap. I assume if this film had anything over a $20 million budget, I would be, you know what? Budget. 20 million. Well played, movie. Well played. For me, this would be at the bottom of my Evil Dead films. And perhaps, like I said, the director, this is the direction that they wanted to go. But assuming this is his baby, like they've said, and he was allowed to build this world however he wanted, that was his call. And it's just very cheaply made and directed, and intentional or not, I didn't enjoy that style. Hope you did, because man, Lord knows horror is in a lovely bit of a resurgence right now. I am here for it. I want slashers to come back. I want creature features back in the theater. I just heard Freddy Krueger's coming back on Paramount Primal, a new horror line. Bring it on. I want a new Freddy. I want a new Jason. I want a new Halloween. And then I want them all to fight. I want a Jason versus Freddy versus Michael. Or Ash. You mean Ash in there. Take the guy from Evil Dead the musical. Let's put him. I'm just gonna end this review now. I'm gonna get too worked up. Like, subscribe, and comment. Always enjoy it, folks. Till next.